All right, get ready because today we're diving into a love story. One that's not exactly your typical romance, though.
No, not at all.
We're talking political intrigue, a fight for survival, and a connection so strong it literally reshapes reality.
And to make things even more interesting, what we're looking at today is actually fan fiction.
Oh, really? I didn't realize.
Yeah, we're exploring, well, actually just excerpts translated from Spanish called Wakfu COLLISION es Corregido.
So, for our listeners who maybe aren't familiar with this world, can you kind of set the scene for us a little bit?
Sure. So imagine a place called the World of 12, where different races with unique powers, cultures, all coexist.
Okay, sounds pretty perverse.
Yeah, and one of these is the Sedita Kingdom. Very lush forests, a deep connection to nature. And their life force comes from Wakfu, this magical energy that flows through everything.
Okay, I'm picturing like a very vibrant, almost like a fairy tale kind of setting.
Exactly. But there's a problem. The Sedita are facing a crisis.
Oh no, what's going on?
Their sacred trees, the source of their Wakfu, are dying.
Oh, so like their whole way of life is at stake here.
Right, it's pretty dire. And at the center of this crisis is Amalia, the young Sedita queen.
Okay, so she's got a lot on her shoulders.
Oh, absolutely. She's strong, she's capable, but the weight of responsibility for her people is immense.
And I imagine that makes it hard to even think about personal happiness or anything like that.
Exactly. Like anyone, she longs for it, but duty always seems to get in the way. And then there's Hugo, the Celatrop king.
Okay, and he plays a role in all of this.
A big one. See, Hugo can actually control Wakfu.
So he's kind of a big deal then.
Oh yeah, pretty awesome power, right?
Definitely.
But he's also haunted by past mistakes and kind of terrified of his own power, really.
I can see how that would be a tough combination.
Oh, it is. And to complicate things even further, he's totally head over heels for Amalia.
So we've got some romantic tension brewing here.
Oh, for sure. But he's convinced that he's not good enough for her, you know.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it's a classic setup, you know. Two people drawn to each other, but held back by those external pressures and their own internal struggles.
Yeah, it's a tale as old as time.
Right, but what's really interesting here is how the story takes this familiar trope and uses it to explore deeper themes of self-worth and sacrifice, you know.
I like that. So how do things actually kick off in this story? Like, what sets everything in motion?
Well, Hugo does something incredibly heroic.
Lay it on me.
He channels his Wakfu to restore the Sedita forest. He basically risks his own well-being to save Amalia's kingdom.
Okay, now that is a grand gesture. Talk about putting your feelings on the line.
Right. And this act is significant on so many levels. I mean, it obviously reveals the depth of his feelings for Amalia and her people, but it also triggers a change in Amalia herself.
What kind of change are we talking about?
She undergoes this, magical transformation.
Whoa, hold on. Magic transformation, you say?
Yeah. It strengthens her connection to Wakfu, and I think might even mirror those blossoming feelings she has for Hugo, you know.
Oh, okay, so maybe his actions kind of unlock something within her. This is getting interesting.
It is, but it's not all sunshine and roses after that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it can't be that easy.
Right. This act has some major consequences.
Oh no, what happens?
Well, first of all, Amalia's transformation releases this huge wave of Wakfu.
Affecting everyone.
Everyone around her, yeah.
Okay, so things are getting a little chaotic.
Definitely. And politically, things get really messy.
I was about to say, I bet other kingdoms aren't too happy about this whole situation.
Exactly. They sense weakness, they see opportunity.
Especially with Hugo, right? This incredibly powerful being who's now closely tied to Amalia and the Sedita.
Exactly. They start maneuvering for power, trying to take advantage.
So how does Amalia handle this? I mean, she's a strong leader, right?
Oh yeah. She doesn't just sit back and let other kingdoms dictate her fate. She stands up to those who question her judgment, defends Hugo and their bond very fiercely.
Good for her.
But this is where that whole conflict between duty and desire really comes into play for her. She's under immense pressure to make strategic decisions.
Right, she's got to think about her kingdom.
Exactly. You know, to consider marriage alliances that could benefit her people.
Even if it means sacrificing her own happiness, right?
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is. So even though it seemed like a win at first, Forest is restored, there's this spark between her and Hugo.
Right.
Amalia is now stuck between a rock and a hard place.
He is.
And what about Hugo? Where does he fit into all of this?
He's wrestling with his own demons.
In what sense?
Well, he's thrilled about Amalia's transformation, but he's also terrified of what his uncontrolled power might do to her and the kingdom.
Oh, so his fears are even stronger now.
Yeah. That fear, coupled with all the guilt he feels over his past, it leads him to withdraw emotionally.
Oh, that's not good.
He thinks distance is the best way to protect Amalia.
So they're both yearning for connection.
Yeah.
But their fears and responsibilities are pushing them apart.
Exactly.
And just when you think things couldn't get more complicated.
Right.
A new character enters the picture.
A new character, yep.
And who might that be?
Pandiego, and a new trough merchant.
And a new trough. Okay, that's a new one.
Yeah, he's got a history with Amalia, and he arrives with a message from a Pandawa princess.
Okay, I'm sensing some political maneuvering here.
Oh, you're catching on.
I mean, we're in the world of 12, right? Political alliances and power dynamics are always shifting.
Always. Pandiego's arrival. It's definitely not just a friendly visit.
So is this where we start seeing those other kingdoms trying to take advantage of the situation?
100%. It hints at the larger power struggles at play here. Amalia and Yugo's relationship. It's unfolding against a backdrop of intrigue and manipulation. It's actually becoming a focal point in a much bigger game.
And I bet the stakes are pretty high.
Oh, absolutely. The fate of kingdoms hangs in the balance.
Okay, so things are heating up, and I know the Saditas throw this big celebration to mark the forest's revival.
They do, yeah.
What role does that play in all this?
Well, it's meant to be a joyous occasion, of course.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it actually becomes a catalyst for conflict.
Oh, how so?
Picture this. Music, dancing, Amalia looking absolutely radiant.
In her, transformed state, I imagine.
Yeah, in a dress that reflects their transformation. It's a moment of hope, of celebration.
Sounds lovely.
But it's also a breeding ground for jealousy and ambition.
So which kingdoms are causing trouble this time?
Well, remember that message that Pandiego brought from the Pandawa princess?
Yeah, what about it?
It turns out her brother, Pandion, is the one pulling the strings.
This guy sounds like bad news. What's this game? Is he trying to force Amalia into a political marriage or something? Or is it something more sinister?
Pandion, he's driven by ambition and this thirst for power. He sees the turmoil in the Sadida kingdom.
And Amalia's vulnerability, right?
Exactly. He sees it all as an opportunity to advance his own agenda. He manipulates his sister, Pandiliana, to gain a foothold in the Sadida court. And then he orchestrates this whole series of events designed to provoke a confrontation with Amalia and Yugo.
So does he underestimate Yugo's power? Because that seems like a rookie mistake.
He does, at least initially. He sees Yugo as this lovesick teenager, easily manipulated, prone to rash decisions, but he fails to grasp the depth of Yugo's transformation.
He doesn't understand the power that comes from love.
Right, and the unwavering commitment Yugo has made to protect Amalia and her kingdom. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
It sounds like we're headed for a showdown, but I imagine it's not just external threats they had to deal with.
No, definitely not.
And I have a feeling a certain Pandala prince might be involved in stirring up trouble, am I right?
You are right. This celebration becomes a stage for a confrontation.
With a Pandala prince.
With a jealous and very manipulative Pandala prince. He challenges Yugo to a duel.
So this isn't just two guys fighting over a girl.
Not at all. It's a clash of coaches, a test of strength and understanding, a symbolic challenge to the Sadida kingdom's power.
Okay, so the stakes are even higher than we thought.
Way higher. And the way this duel unfolds, it reveals a lot about Yugo. Remember, he's been struggling with self-doubt.
Yeah, and that fear of his own power.
Right. But during this duel, fueled by Amalia's love and the forest's restored Wakfu, he undergoes a dramatic transformation. He emerges in this more powerful adult form.
Hold on, he literally transforms.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty amazing. But also, I can see how that would be terrifying for him, especially with his anxieties about his power.
Absolutely. This transformation, as empowering as it is, it comes at a cost.
Oh no, what kind of cost?
Yugo pushes himself to his limits to defeat this Pandala prince, who, by the way, is possessed by a fire spirit.
Oh, okay, so we've got a supernatural element thrown in there too.
We do. And the strain of all this, it leaves Yugo physically and emotionally drained.
So this is like a classic hero's journey, right?
Kind of, yeah.
He faces his fears, embraces his power, but learns that true strength comes with a price.
It's a powerful moment of growth for him.
It is, but I'm sensing a but coming.
But as we'll see in the next part of our deep dive, this victory is very short-lived. Fate, it seems, has a cruel twist in store for our star-crossed lovers.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear what happens next.
It's a wild ride.
Okay, so last time we left off with Yugo completely drained after that intense duel. He pushed his powers to the limit, transformed to defeat the Pandala prince.
Yeah, it's a close one.
But he ended up paying a price for that victory.
He did.
So where do things go from there?
Well, remember that fire spirit, the one possessing the prince?
Yeah, what happened to that?
It didn't just vanish after the duel.
Oh, no.
It actually attacks Amalia.
What?
Leaving her with severe burns. a pretty devastating turn of events.
Oh, that's awful. I can't even imagine what Yugo must be going through. Seeing the woman he loves hurt, especially after he just poured everything into protecting her kingdom, it's gotta be rough.
It is. It's a crushing blow for him. He falls into a catatonic state, completely consumed by guilt and fear.
I mean, he was so worried about his power hurting Amalia, and now this happens.
It's like his worst nightmare come true.
And what about Amalia? Aside from the burns, is she all right? Like physically, I mean...
Well, her physical wounds are healing, but emotionally she's in a lot of pain. And she blames herself.
For the attack.
Yeah. She thinks she was careless, that she put herself in danger. It's in this vulnerable state that she makes a pretty drastic decision.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat now. What does she do?
Remember that mysterious being, the Chispita we mentioned earlier?
Yeah, vaguely. The one that appeared right before Yugo woke up?
Right. We're still not 100% sure what it is, but...
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm still a little fuzzy on the details there.
We'll get to that. But for now, all you need to know is that the Chispita helps Amalia.
Helps her how?
Helps her enter Yugo's subconscious.
Wait, so she's like diving into his mind?
Yeah, she's trying to reach him.
Wow, that's intense.
It is.
So what's it like inside Yugo's mind? Is it all sunshine and rainbows? Or is it more like a psychological thriller?
Let's just say, it's not a relaxing vacation. Amalia finds herself in this dreamscape, one that reflects all of Yugo's deepest fears and traumas.
So she's not just seeing happy memories and stuff?
No. It's way deeper than that. She's confronting manifestations of his past mistakes, his insecurities, his fear of hurting the people he cares about.
Oh, wow. So she's really seeing all sides of him.
Yeah, and it's through these encounters that she starts to really understand, the weight he carries, the reasons behind all that self-doubt and withdrawal.
Okay, so his actions make a lot more sense now.
They do.
It's like he's built these walls around himself to protect others from the damage he thinks he could cause.
Exactly.
But in the process, he's also isolating himself from love and support.
Right. And to add another layer of complexity to all of this, there's also the appearance of Oropo.
Oropo, who's that?
He's a mysterious celetrop. And he seems to have a very deep understanding of Yugo's powers and the forces at play.
Hold on. Another celetrop. I thought Yugo was the only one.
That's what we thought. But Oropo's presence suggests there's more to Yugo's origins than we initially realized. And Oropo doesn't exactly make things easy for Amalia. He speaks in riddles, offers these cryptic insights, and you just constantly question his motives. It's hard to tell what his deal is.
So is he trying to help her? Or is he manipulating her?
That's the million-dollar question. He definitely knows more than he's letting on. Like, for example, he drops some pretty serious hints about the Chispita.
About the what now?
The Chispita. He suggests that it might be a manifestation of Yugo's deepened desire for Amalia.
Okay, back up for a second. So you're saying Yugo's love for Amalia literally created this being?
That's what he's implying.
That's a lot to process.
It is, right. It raises so many questions about the nature of Wakfu, the power of belief, and the potential consequences of unchecked emotions.
Okay, this is where I start to get a little lost.
Yeah, it's complicated.
So is the Chispita just a figment of Yugo's imagination? Or does it have its own agency? And if it was created by his desire, does that mean it's inherently good? Or could it be dangerous?
These are exactly the kind of questions that Amalia's grappling with as she's navigating Yugo's mind.
Right, it makes sense.
And it's through this journey of hers that the true nature of the Chispita is revealed.
Okay, so lay it on me. What is the Chispita, really?
It's not just some random guide. It's not just a product of Yugo's subconscious. The Chispita is a manifestation of their intertwined Wakfu.
Whoa, so their love literally created a new being.
Yeah, pretty wild, right?
That's a lot. And it gets even more complicated because Oropo suggests that the Chispita is actually the one keeping Yugo unconscious. Wait, what? Why would it do that?
He says it's protecting him.
Protecting him from what?
From the full impact of its own existence. He's implying that her very being might be too much for Yugo to handle in his current state.
So it's like a safety net, but also a potential threat.
Exactly. It really highlights this duality of powerful forces, like Wakfu can be this source of life and healing.
Right.
But it can also be destructive if it's not properly controlled.
So the Chispita, born from love, could be both Yugo's salvation and his undoing.
It's a very complex situation.
It is. So where does Amalia go from here? I mean, she's in his mind, he's unconscious, there's this powerful being that might be holding him captive, and the outside world is probably still in chaos.
Probably.
What's her next move?
Well, Amalia's journey through Yugo's mind isn't just about understanding him.
It's about waking him up.
It is. She realizes that his withdrawal, his attempts to distance himself, they were all misguided attempts to protect her.
So he really does love her.
Yeah, he does. He loves her deeply, but he's just terrified of hurting her.
So she needs to convince him that his love isn't a danger, that they can face these challenges together.
Exactly. But it's not an easy task. She has to confront the manifestations of his past traumas, the voices of doubt and fear that are holding him captive.
This is giving me serious Inception vibes.
Right.
So does she succeed?
She does. Through empathy, understanding, and her unwavering belief in him, she breaks through those barriers he's built.
And Hugo finally wakes up.
He does.
That's a relief, but I bet this isn't a happily ever after ending.
Not quite. Hugo awakens, and he's different. The experience has transformed him, leaving him bound to Amalia by Wakfu.
Bound to her how?
It's like a physical manifestation of the deep connection they share now.
So their love is literally shaping reality. I'm guessing this new bond comes with its own set of challenges.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. We'll delve into the implications of this transformation, the political fallout, and the lingering questions about the Chespida's role in all of this.